His rocket company is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Come here. Take over, Elon. Yes, take over.
Hi, everyone. As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA.
This next story could explain some things, maybe. That was just one of the many chaotic moments, performative moments of Elon Musk's time alongside Donald Trump on the campaign trail in 2024. Now, some truly shocking new reporting by the New York Times finds that while campaigning with Donald Trump last year, Elon Musk engaged in drug consumption that, quote, went well beyond occasional use, to the point where it began to have a physical impact on him. New York Times reports this, quote, as Elon Musk became one of Donald Trump's closest allies last year, leading raucous rallies and donating about $275 million to help him win the presidency, he was also using drugs far more intensely than previously known. That's according to people familiar with his activities. Musk's drug consumption went well beyond occasional use. He told people he was taking so much ketamine, a powerful anesthetic, that it was affecting his bladder, the known effect of chronic use. He took ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, and he traveled with a daily medication box that held about 20 pills, including ones with the markings of the stimulant Adderall. That's according to a photo of the box and people who have seen it. Musk has said that he was prescribed ketamine to treat depression, taking it approximately every 2 weeks. He told his biographer this, quote, I really don't like doing illegal drugs. However, the Times reports this, quote, Musk had been using ketamine often, sometimes daily, and mixing it with other drugs, according to people familiar with his consumption. The line between medical use and recreation was blurry, troubling some people close to him. The New York Times notes that it is unclear whether he continued to take drugs when he began working at the White House. Elon Musk's time in the administration was defined by the massive cuts he made to the federal workforce, which have frequently been challenged in courts and often blocked, as well as reported interpersonal clashes with senior cabinet members, including trade advisor Peter Navarro, who he called a, quote, moron and, quote, dumber than a sack of bricks, end quote. In the Oval Office today, Elon Musk lashed out at the New York Times without answering questions about the substance of its reporting. NBC News has not been able to independently verify the Times reporting. The White House and Elon Musk did not respond to requests for comment from NBC News. A White House spokesperson did issue a statement to the New York Times. He declined to comment on Musk's drug use. Joining our coverage is investigative reporter for the New York Times, Megan Twohey. Her byline is on that reporting we read from. Say more.
Yeah. Well, listen, you're right. There has been some coverage of Elon Musk's drug use in the past. He himself has acknowledged that he used ketamine. As he said, it was with a prescription and only every couple weeks to help with depression. But what we found is that the drug use was much more frequently than previously known. And it wasn't just the volume, it was that these drugs appeared to be mixed. So from the ketamine use that at times has been near daily and got to the point where it was causing bladder issues as he was joining Trump on the campaign trail, to the use of ecstasy and psychedelic mushrooms, as well as this pill box that contained, as many as 20 pills, including one with the marking of Adderall. So there were some people close to him. It's been really hard for reporters to penetrate the sort of circle of people who know him. But in recent months, people had started to talk to me and my colleague, Kirsten Grind, because there have been people close to him who have had concerns about his drug use.
This is going to sound like a dumb question, but what is ketamine and how do you take it? And what would a normal, either recreational or prescribed use look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. It's this powerful anesthetic that can serve as a sedative, and it has been approved by the FDA for use in medical procedures. There are doctors who have prescribed it for psychiatric treatment, like depression, but those doctors are supposed to have special licenses, and the FDA has warned that the use of this drug, can come with these serious side effects and risks, including addiction and bladder issues.
Does that mean you lose? What are the bladder issues?
The bladder issues, it's not one single bladder issue that can come from chronic use of the drug, which can be, can be consumed in a variety of ways, including like through lozenges and nose sprays. In addition to being used medically, it has also become an increasingly popular recreational drug, I think particularly in the sort of out west in the tech world. And so, but the FDA has warned that it can have these side effects, and the bladder issues can involve like pain and control.
My God, you don't even know what to say. I mean, what is the sense that, obviously, the reporting is about a period in time that ended in November. He's leaving after a lot of political analysis, sort of assessing that he cost the Republicans a seat in Wisconsin. I mean, what is the sense of how much we still don't know about Elon Musk and Donald Trump?
Well, I think that that's a really good question. And obviously, our story comes at this moment when he is departing from Washington, at least to some extent. And I think that all of us are going to be processing and analyzing what has happened, both publicly but also behind the scenes over the past year. And it's also important to note that while our reporting on his drug use, this drug use that was much more intense than previously known, kind of only went up through the end of last year, and we can't say with certainty whether he was continued to use drugs once he, entered the White House and was given the keys to slash the federal bureaucracy. And, listen, we asked the White House about whether or not they had drug tested Musk, and they refused to answer those questions. SpaceX, one of his companies, after he smoked weed in 2018 on Joe Rogan's podcast. That triggered, SpaceX has billions of dollars in contracts, and they are required, because of that, to maintain a drug-free workplace and test their employees. And our reporting showed that Musk receives advance warnings of those tests. So what's certain is that there doesn't seem to be there hasn't been any sort of scrutiny or true monitoring or testing of this drug use, even as it sort of bubbled up behind the scenes. And today the White House issued a statement saying that they, just basically saying that they gave Musk a lot of credit for what he's done, but still refusing to answer our questions about whether or not they've drug tested him.
But importantly, did they deny anything in your story?
Nobody has denied anything in our story. And today at this press conference, the first question that Musk fielded was about our story, and he shut that down. He didn't even let the question out in its entirety. He just, he refused to engage in our reporting. He hadn't responded to our questions, so we started to submit as early as Monday. And he basically just instructed everybody to move on.
I know he has a lot of personal relationships. Are all of those relationships governed by NDAs, or is it possible to report on any of his past partners?
It is extremely hard to report on him. Like many powerful people, he has required NDAs of people in his inner circle and who have interacted with him. But we were able to ultimately interview more than 12 people, more than a dozen people who have known him and have worked for him. And so, that felt to us like it was a significant body of people, including growing numbers of people who have been close to him, who have been worried about this.
Yeah, sometimes it's not people trying to make him look bad, it's people that are most worried. What can you tell us about the box of pills and the 20 pills a day? I can barely choke down my vitamin C.
Yeah, listen, I mean, we can't go into all the details of what we've observed in that box and say things with certainty. We were able to see a photograph of this pill box, this daily pill box that contain about 20 pills.
Can you say how big it is?
Yeah, it's like about this big with divided like AM and PM.
Yeah.
And so, so we saw a photo of it, and we've talked to people who have seen it. What we can say with certainty that it includes the stimulant Adderall. So, we're talking about ketamine, which is a sedative. We're talking about Adderall, a stimulant. We're talking about these other psychedelic drugs. And so, once again, the concern has been not just the volume of drugs and the frequency, but the mixing of them.
It's unbelievable reporting. It's so nice to see you
So nice
at the
to see you,
table.
too.
I
Thank you
hope
for
you stay
having
on the beat. If there's more to learn, Megan Twohey, thank you very much.